Star Wars Jedi Survivor was a pretty good game that unfortunately the developers rushed out and it was broken. It has taken a lot of heat over the technical problems it has, but the story itself was solid. Yet now, of course, journalists are trashing it, not because it's a broken and buggy mess or the boss fights are repetitive, no, but because the co-lead character Merrin is apparently pansexual in a novel and it isn't mentioned in the game. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon or a supporter via YouTube memberships. So, of course, this is from The Gamer. Whenever I'm referencing ridiculous articles, most of the time it's from Kotaku or The Gamer. Merrin is pansexual, but Star Wars Jedi Survivor doesn't care. I have an issue with the way canon queerness is represented in video games. Oh, of course, they don't have a problem with the fact that this game is buggy or broken. In most AAA games launched nowadays and have major technical problems, they care about the queerness in video games. While we get rare gems like The Last of Us Part 2, where Ellie's queerness is part of the story without being the story, most characters have their sexuality pushed to the wayside so studios can get brownie points without actually giving audiences meaningful representation. It's hilarious that this is their complaint because they go on to list several games, okay, that feature characters that are queer, but it's just not good enough for them. Another PlayStation flagship lead, Aloy, was shown to be queer in the DLC, but if Guerrilla Games ignores this development in Horizon's next mainline title, it displays the lack of commitment to their audience. They also point out Overwatch 2's new character, Lifeweaver, was also announced to be pansexual, but the game itself doesn't let on to this fact in any significant way. Unfortunately, Star Wars Jedi Survivor has done the same with fan-favorite character Merrin. A novel bridging the gap between Fallen Order and Survivor called Star Wars Jedi Battle Scars was published in March, telling the story of the Mantis crew in the years before the events of the second game, and in this novel it was revealed that Merrin is pansexual and hooked up with a woman who defected from the stormtroopers. The definition of pansexual is you are attracted to any gender, and that is what Merrin is, because in Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, spoiler alert, she ends up getting with Cal. She has a romantic relationship with Cal, and this journalist is basically mad that in the games she doesn't hook up with women, that her romance is not with a woman. It makes sense, in my opinion, that she's with Cal, seeing as they have years of history and connection together, and they are constantly together, they have each other's backs, they form that bond. But no, it's just not good enough that one of the tie-in novels mentions, oh, well, she was with a woman once. It has to be in the base games, and it's not, so they're furious with it. I think that this is absurd for so many reasons, but primarily, this game is still buggy, it is still broken, it still has a lot of technical issues. I would rather read a The Gamer article about the technical problems and about what the developers plan to do, and I would be fine with The Gamer writing articles trashing the game for its, technical issues, but they don't do that. Instead, they're going to complain about something small like this. If it's in a novel, that should be good enough, that's great. If it's canon, that's cool. If that's what you want to see out of these characters, right? But just because it's not featured in the base game doesn't make it a giant issue. Unfortunately, you wouldn't know any of this by playing Survivor, and spoilers ahead, she and Cal finally make out and decide to get together. And while Cal is cute and all, Merrin is funny, powerful, and incredibly competent. Oh no! The classic, a woman can't be with a man because she is better than a man and the man doesn't deserve her. This is why I do not take gaming journalists seriously, because nothing is ever enough for them. They're mad that there's not enough queerness in video games, even though they list off 5 games that feature queer characters. It's not good enough. And in this situation, yeah, well, she's pansexual and she could be with a man, but she's better than the man. This is why I always say developers should create what they're confident in and not listen to feedback a lot of the time, because when you listen to feedback from people like this, you might change 50 things, but there's going to be 50 other things they're going to be angry about. They are never going to be happy, and that is why creatives should just create what they feel confident in, and their audience will follow. It's disappointing, but par for the course when it comes to Star Wars. Obi-Wan is also possibly queer, but we never see that discussed anywhere else other than the book it was written in. Oh, look at that! They're trying to twist Obi-Wan now. Oh, Obi-Wan could be queer, but we never, ever, ever see it, except for in one book from one rogue writer who decided to add that he could be queer. That doesn't make it canon. If something is referenced in one book out of 1,000, maybe you shouldn't start pushing the idea that this character is truly queer just because one creative decided he could be. It says a queer black woman was replaced with an unnamed white character in Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, possibly to avoid a larger discussion of Ahsoka's sexuality. They act like Disney could be the chosen one and like they really care, but they don't. They have been virtue signaling for years at this point. As they mention in this article, they allowed Obi-Wan to possibly be queer in one single book, and these people have clung to it. They're happy with it, and they're ignoring a bunch of other negative things like what they did with Finn in The Force Awakens. They shrunk his face on posters for Chinese markets because they thought it would be the most marketable direction to take the movie in for that region, while still pushing the DEI message in other ones. People like this view one situation and then go to bat for these companies, and these companies do not care. They only care about making money, not about proper representation or diversity or inclusivity. To me, this is just another journalist finding something to complain about because nothing is ever good enough for them. I would be more worried about the game having a 5.5 user score on Metacritic over a character's pansexual identity, but of course this is what the gamer and their journalists want to complain about. It's why I do not take them seriously. It is why many people do not take them seriously and go to their website for real articles, unless of course we want to find articles to laugh at. But this is their newest complaint, is that gaming isn't queer enough and that Merrins' pansexual identity should have been highlighted in this title. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.